Welcome to the Class Business Podcast. I'm Chrissy Monaghan, your host, and today we're joined by Savanna Madden. Savanna is a business coach, public speaker, and a theatre school principal, as well as the host for Reclaim Your Voice podcast. She's the founder of the award-winning Madden Theatre Arts, where she has built a scalable class-based business with a strong team and community. Through her voice framework, she helps women in business step into greater leadership and visibility with confidence. And she is also a judge for the Class Business Awards. I'm really looking forward to this conversation, so let's dive in. Savanna, it's absolutely amazing to have you here with us today. For everyone who's listening in online or watching us on YouTube, can you tell everyone who you are, what do you do, and where do you do it?
Oh, thank you so much. Hi, Chrissy. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. So, yes, I'm Savanna and I'm a business mentor for female founders who want to grow and scale their businesses and go from being the founder of their business to being the CEO and to stop doing everything in their business and start leading it like the absolute, queen or king that they are. I do work predominantly with women, but I do have some male clients as well. And I come from a performing arts background. I have a theatre school called Madden Theatre Arts, and I've grown and scaled that business to a team of 10 now. And I suppose you would call me the CEO of that business, although in the performing arts world, we do kind of refer to ourselves more as principals. And I no longer really work in that business. I'm just the decision maker. And I have that business in Cambridgeshire and Hertfordshire, which is where I'm based. I'm based in Hertfordshire, and my coaching business is online, although I am looking to do a lot more in-person stuff because that connection is amazing. And that's what I know, being from my performing arts background. We do all of our stuff in person, really.
So let's just go backwards. Obviously, you've got one really successful theatre program that you already run, and you've been developing your new business where you're helping female founders. Let's rewind back. Were you in performing arts when you were a child? Did you go to classes? Like, what's the journey?
Yeah, so I started my performing arts journey when I was just a young girl from Worthing, which is on the south coast of England. And I did freestyle disco dancing, and then I went into ballet, tap, jazz, modern, all of that. And when I was 16, I left school, went on to sixth form, did a BTEC in dance and performance. I think BTECs are still around now, but they are of a different format. And then after that, I took a gap year, went travelling, did all of that stuff. And during that gap year, I auditioned for performing arts colleges, just wanting to be a dancer. I got into Bodywork Company, which is in Cambridge. However, I think that their performing arts, like 3-year courses have now ceased, but it was an amazing college in its heyday when I was there. And I did a foundation year there, and then I got a scholarship to go there for 3 years. And then once I graduated, I actually worked as an actor instead of a dancer for most of my career. And yeah, I know. And I ended up not doing just dance there. I did musical theatre, so I could sing, dance and act. And then, I started working as an actor. I moved into presenting. I did a lot of theatre work first, and then I moved into screen. I lived in Glasgow for 5 years, and the short film scene was amazing there. And I produced a lot of my own work, and then, moved a lot into presenting. But then when I moved back down to England, I actually lost my voice. So there was lots of stuff that went on there. If you follow me on social media, you'll find out all about that story. But that was the catalyst for what made me start my own theatre school, because when I moved back to England, I started working for lots of different performing arts organisations, lots of the big franchises. I also went back to Bodywork and ran their theatre school for a couple of years. And I've been running an acting studio in Glasgow as well. So I had loads of experience running a class-based business, basically. And got to this point where I'd lost my voice. I was teaching a lot of dance. Shouting over the music was one of the reasons that kind of added to the voice loss, but wasn't the sole reason. And I just thought, do you know what? I could do this. So my theatre school started on a Saturday with 12 students in a porter cabin in a car park teaching Lambda speech and drama lessons on a one-to-one basis. And I had these 12 kids back to back from like 9 till 2 or something. And my business grew initially just from word of mouth. So people were referring me left, right and centre, and I managed to fill up my Saturday. So because I filled up my Saturday, I was able to let go of another class that I was teaching for somebody else. And then I started getting clients after school during the week as well. And bit by bit, I managed to grow it so that I was able to step away from all of my other teaching commitments. But I got to the point where I'd hit the ceiling of, I can't literally cram in any more students. And I say cram with love, because I loved it so much. It was so great. But for goodness me, I was literally teaching every night of the week and all day on a Saturday. So I decided to bring on my first coach. And then I decided to get a VA after that. I should have done it all at least 6 months, maybe even a year earlier than what I did. But that's what we do, don't we?
They say when you're thinking about doing it, you should have already done it like a year before.
100%. Yes.
So you were managing the business, obviously doing order delivery yourself, and then obviously doing all the back end stuff in terms of managing the business. Then you decided, okay, I'm going to bring in an extra, is it a coach to take over some of the delivery for you?
Yes. So my first coach came on board and she took about 5 to 10 students off my hands, as it were. But because I then had another person to manage, as well as all of these other, young people that I was teaching, I was like, oh gosh, I can't manage all of this as well and manage another person. So that's why I then brought on my first VA. And she initially was just doing like 1 hour a week for me, just to sort of like take the edge off. Yeah. And not long after I brought on my first coach, I brought on my next coach. And then it just kind of was like a bit of a cascade after that. And by the time I went on maternity leave in October 2023, I had 5 coaches working for me and 1 VA. And that year that I went on mat leave was actually my most successful financial year in terms of profit, which is quite remarkable considering I was basically paying so many other people to do the work. And I now have a team of 5 and 3 people that work in the office for me, because having just one person manage all of the coaching team, all of the parents, all of the students, all of the everything else that goes into it, it just needed one extra person, and I managed to sort additional support out about 6 months ago from time of recording, and that has made an enormous impact onto like the customer journey, how we look after our parents through their booking, through how we retain them. And we have a really great retention in my school, because people sign up because they want to do all of the grades, and they have a lovely time doing it, because we still predominantly offer Lambda speech and drama exams, and a lot of our work is on a one-to-one basis, although we are bringing in quite a few more group programs in the next sort of 6 months, because there seems to be a real sort of want for it. But yeah, it's just been an amazing experience growing this team. And out of my 5 coaches that I've got, all 5 of them have been with me for more than 3 or 4 years. So I've got a really loyal, committed, incredible team who are also very talented and really popular with the student cohort, which is, again, it's not a popularity contest, but it's really important to me that, of course, the students really love being with their teachers, because they spend half an hour a week minimum with them, and they build that wonderful relationship together.
So I know lots of people listening they've either looked to build a team, or in the midst of building the team. And the feedback I always get is, Chrissy, how do I find decent staff?
Oh,
So
my
have you
goodness.
got any tips?
The question, yes. $1 million question. Yes, it is really challenging. I'm not going to sugarcoat it in any way, shape, or form. It takes a lot of commitment from the founder, from the principal, from the business owner, however you identify. A lot of commitment, a lot of trust, and you have to really believe in what you're doing and really trust your instincts and your gut. And I have found out the hard way of taking somebody on because I've just really needed an extra pair of hands, or, we've been so at capacity that at so many points, my business has been at capacity where we've had to turn business away because I haven't had enough coaches to be able to provide the lessons that we advertise. So there's this really great saying is that I'd rather have a hole in my business than a hole. It's really important that you have great people in your business. So the question, how do you find good people? So a really thorough interview process when you bring them on, doing obviously all the normal checks that you would do, referencing, safeguarding checks, all of that. But actually finding them is going into Facebook groups, I find has been a really great way to find people. Sharing in groups, sharing online how great your company is. So it's like you're attracting the right like-minded people into your business. So everybody that I have ever interviewed, I've always asked them, so what do you know about my company? And I don't say that to be really big-headed or that because I've got a big ego. I want to know that they want to come and work inside my company. And I've had messages in the past from people that have said, oh, I so wish I lived in the same area as you because I'd love to work on your team, or I'd love to work within your company. And that's because of the message that I send out, I think, on my social channels. And even though I don't really work in the business so much anymore, I'm still front and center. And I still am the one showing up on stories and putting my face to my content. So I do think it's about putting that message out there and attracting people in. And I've also had my current coaches refer other coaches and say, oh, would you like to apply for a job at MTA because you'd be a great fit? So I've had my team find other people to bring them in. So yeah, putting yourself out there, Facebook groups, and having such a loyal and looking after your current team that they then bring other people in that they know.
It's great free tips there for everybody. And so obviously right now the business has been going for how many years?
So we'll be 8 this year.
And what year did you fully come out of the business that now you just, like you said, front end it and the team?
So when I went on mat leave in October 2023, I anticipated that I wouldn't return once my son, started going to childcare or whatever, because I did have another role in a school as a peripatetic lambda teacher. And I did return to that when he was 9 months old. And then I just went back we're stationed in a school in our local area. So I went back to teaching there 1 day a week, and I actually stepped away from that role just before the Easter holiday, so a couple of weeks ago. So fully out of it this month, April 2026. However, I've only been teaching really 1 day a week. I dip in and out. So I did cover somebody for 6 weeks before Christmas. I always run all the mock exams. I run all the exam days. I do a bit of mentoring here and there. So I'm still can't quite step out of it, 100%, because I just can't help myself. However, because I've built this incredible team, I know I can just trust them. And we have loads of stuff in place to ensure that everybody feels secure in what they're doing. They know that my door's always open to communicate with me if they're having any problems, if they need any help or advice, because it's really good just to bounce ideas around. So, I have fully handed everything over in October 23. I didn't work at all whilst I was on mat leave, as in teaching, apart from mock exams. That was the only thing I did, which was like 3 days out of 9 months. But yeah, this month is the first time I've come out of it completely not in the studio at all.
That's so, I mean, and it's so good that you've made that like transition fully. Now you talk about having stuff in place for people who are listening. What's the stuff that so they could try and, you know, do the same in their business?
Absolutely. So regular check-ins with my team. So over the summer holidays, I do a one-to-one mentoring session with everybody on my team so that we can talk about what's gone well over the year, what hasn't gone so well, what they've struggled with, what they've really excelled in, and what their goals are for the next academic year. And a lot of my coaches are still working performers as well. Not all of them, but some of them are, and have loads of other interests as well. So I've got one member of my team who is really into writing and is looking at writing some more things. I've got another member of my team who had a break from the industry for a long time and now she's got back into it. We don't just set goals around their teaching or their coaching. We set personal goals as well. One of my team members wanted to buy their own home last year, so we were talking about that. So that's one thing. The other thing is every term we do like a reflections activity where team members just literally just fill out, like it's a bit like a survey really, and just talk about each student that they work with and say what they've done really well, what maybe they need to improve on a little bit more, or things that they might be struggling with, either the coach or flagging things that are struggling, the student is struggling with, so that they have an extra pair of eyes and ears. Obviously, if it's something urgent, they'll come to me straight away. But if it's something that can wait, and it's like, you know, just feel like maybe we just need to have a little further look at that. So we do that termly, and I do a staff training every term as well. And we brainstorm ideas on what we all need to know more about. So, for example, in January, we did a staff training all about visibility for the company and different class ideas to implement in September, because we're trying to diversify and offer new things, not just Lambda speech and drama exams. So yeah, it's a lot of checking in, a lot of making sure that everyone feels looked after and supported. That's a really massive core value for me. And I think it's because, and I'm not throwing any shade at people I have worked for in the past, but in some of the bigger performing arts organisations that I did work for, I literally just felt like I was being brought in, teach the class, go home again, and there was no support in between, and the communication wasn't always great. And that's not for every single company I've ever worked for, but for some. And so it's really important to me that I have that in my team. And also I've just introduced as well an incentive for wellbeing. So I've set the team like small little micro challenges, and every time they complete one of these little challenges, they sort of add points to their card, and then whoever is the winner of this challenge at the end of the term will win a prize, which will be like a wellbeing day, so like a spa day or something like that. So I really like to incentivize stuff and reward my staff, and we try and get together, but it's so difficult.
It sounds like
busy doing lots of different things, you know. So yeah,
you sound like you've provided like a great like all-round support package, reward package, which is probably why that's why your staff have stayed with you a long time, because they are looked after. And that's great advice for everyone listening who are trying to build teams or manage teams that they've currently got. Because I do sometimes feel like, people are like, oh, here's the lesson plan, rock up over here, deliver it, and then come back next week.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think as well with my team, I do give them a lot of freedom and flexibility. So I have like a very sort of set sort of intention and ethos that I want to run through the company. And some of the best feedback I've ever had from parents is, oh, they're just like another version of you, Savanna, if their child's been taught by me and then they've transitioned to being taught by somebody else. Oh, it's just like another version of you, because we're teaching things in the very same way, but they are able to sprinkle their personality and their special sauce into whatever it is that they're delivering, because we all need to have our own personality and we don't want a carbon copy, but it's good for the students to have structure and to have familiarity, but not obviously the exact same thing. And I like to be able to give my team the flexibility to be themselves and put their own stamp on things.
Oh, for sure. And obviously, so you've been, the business is stable and it's been run by a team and you're overseeing it. And for the last 2 years, isn't it? I think this is your second year. You've been exploring a new avenue, because I know you really want to support female founders to find their voice. Tell everyone about that journey and what you're looking to build for the future.
So, as you do when you're 3 months postpartum, you have a brainwave when your child is sleeping. And then the month later, they go into a sleep regression and don't come out of it for many months. I had this brilliant idea of how I could support other female founders, other business owners to grow and scale their businesses with a lot more confidence, to be able to grow their teams if that's something that they want to do, and make that sort of mindset shift from being the founder and the doer and doing everything within the business to then go to sort of leading it, and do that by not feeling like they don't have the confidence to do it and not be able to use their voice. So because of my performing arts background, obviously literally have done a lot of voice work, being an actor and everything. And then because of the journey I went on losing my voice and rebuilding it, and I didn't just lose my voice, I lost all my confidence and just didn't feel like I was going to be able to bring myself back out. But I did. And again, that's the story for another time. And you can find out more about it if you're interested on my social media. But yeah, I am really passionate about ensuring that business owners are able to use their voice within their business for positivity and to, create a great community, whether that is a community of clients, a community of coaches or team members, and to spread whatever amazing thing that their business is to the wider audience. And I've spoken quite a bit on stages last month, all about reclaiming your voice. And I actually have a voice framework, which I work with inside my container, which is an acronym, I don't know if you call it an acronym, but V basically stands for values, O for ownership, I for identity, C for capacity, and E for expression. And inside my container, we go through that framework, and I talked about it in many of my talks, different elements. And, just as an example, like the identity piece is so crucial for business owners, especially with this kind of like trust recession we're in at the moment, and the use of AI and how it's just moving at a speed that we can't quite keep up with. Knowing, first of all, your identity and being able to shift from that kind of founder mentality where you're in the business, you're maybe as a class business owner, you're teaching, coaching everything, doing everything. You were like me 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago, doing all the admin, marketing. We say a lot, don't we, in the class business industry, that we're wearing all the hats and doing all the things. And I think sometimes we can just wear it a bit like a badge of honor, as if it's like, whoa, look at me go. But actually, when we really break it down, that is what is going to lead to burning out, not being able to teach our classes. If you are a solopreneur, and you are the only person, you are it. And if you don't have a team around you to support you, then obviously that could be really detrimental to your business. So my identity piece is all about making that small, maybe quite subtle shift at first from doing everything to actually leading everything. And whether that's leading a team or not, that's fine. But it's about not having to do everything completely by yourself and bringing in the support that you need to ensure that your business runs a little bit more smoothly and doesn't rely on you all the time, because a business that relies on one person isn't actually a business, is it? Because if you're out of action, then your business isn't going to be able to run.
For sure. And you're doing great work right now, and I'm seeing you grow and develop every single day, and it's amazing to see it all happening. And obviously, you're a judge for us at the Class Business Awards, which we're really excited about, because you've got so much depth of knowledge and experience, which you've just been sharing. What sparked your interest about becoming a judge, and what are you looking for in terms of when people apply, like when they've been writing all the goodies? Is there something that you're particularly looking for?
Gosh, I am so excited to do this. And the reason that I wanted to be a judge is to get an insight into how other people are running their businesses and see what great things people are doing out there. So the things that I'm particularly looking for are the value and impact that class business owners are having on their immediate community, and then looking at how they can progress that even further and where they can push that to widen their reach potentially, and how they have also been able to grow and sustain their business whilst juggling other things. Potentially they have a family, potentially they have another business, potentially they have come from a different industry and moved into this one because they wanted a different lifestyle. I love stories. I love finding out about people. I have my own podcast where I'm constantly talking to other people. I obviously brought you on last year, Chrissy. It was amazing. And I love seeing how much people have built things and their impact on their community. That's what I'm going to be looking for. What value are you giving to others through your incredible business?
Oh, I love that. And if anyone's who are watching this and listening and they want to connect with you, to look at, to get advice, business coaching from you in terms of building team, building structure, systems, but also reclaiming their voice, where's the best place for them? Where are you hanging out? Where's the best place for them to connect with you?
The best place to find me is Instagram, I would say. I'm on there at I am Savanna Madden. I absolutely love chatting to people in DMs. If you like a voice note, I'm also your girl. I apologise if it turns into a mini podcast, but I love hanging out on Instagram, and I love chatting to new people or people I already know in my DMs. So come and connect with me there. Come and follow me. I'll follow you back, and I will drop you a DM or you drop me one and we can have a little chat.
Yeah, for sure. And Savanna, you'll be at the Club Hub event in May?
I will be, yes. Right. Yes.
So everyone, you can connect with Savanna at the Club Hub event in May, and she'll be joining us in October, on the 10th of October, for the a big awards day. Thank you so much for your time today. I think there's so much value in what you shared today, particularly around recruitment, looking after your staff, growing teams, and obviously building the systems and stuff in place. I know that will be so valuable to everyone. So thank you so much for giving up your time today to join us.
Thank you so much for having me, Chrissy. It was an absolute pleasure.